Do you feel like you're spinning your wheels and not making any progress at all, no matter how hard you work? Well, the reality is it's not actually your fault, but instead, your subconscious mind is getting in the way. As we navigate our day, we are driven by our unconscious, our subconscious, and our conscious mind. And our subconscious mind and our conscious mind are oftentimes at odds. Our subconscious mind is about the moment. Our conscious mind is about long-term change and transformation. And moment to moment, our subconscious mind is driving us, which makes it harder for us to move forward. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to explore the reason why the subconscious and conscious mind are in conflict with each other and some really simple tapping that you can do to get the subconscious mind out of the way to create the lasting transformation that you want. This is Monterastelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 630, originally aired September 26, 2024. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. I hear it all of the time from my clients. They have a really clear plan to create long-term transformation in their life. They know exactly what they are supposed to do to create that transformation. They're committed to making that transformation. They even put items on their to-do list to help them to move forward. And the next thing they know, it is another day, it is another week, it is another 3 weeks, and they haven't been spending any time on these transformational goals. And it's not that they are wasting time. They are busy. They are overly busy. And the problem then multiplies itself because we have a plan, we know what we're supposed to do, and we're not doing it. And that actually demotivates us. It actually sucks our will to take action. And then we move from being excited about long-term transformation to being frustrated about our lack of progress to giving up. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why that happens, but most importantly, I'm going to share with you a really simple tapping approach that will make it so much easier for you to take the action you want to create that long-term change. So you're no longer just busy, but you're actually moving forward in your life. Now, if you are new to tapping and have no idea what I'm talking about, tapping is this absolutely amazing approach that I use every single day for myself. I use in every single one of my client sections to create change and transformation. The beautiful thing about tapping is it's something that can be self-applied. You can do it anytime, anywhere. And the steps are super, super simple. If you are new to tapping, all you need to do is go to learntotap.com. That's learntotap.com. And if you follow the little red arrow in the upper right-hand corner, that will take you to learntotap.com, where you can learn the basics right away and add this amazing tool to your transformational toolbox. Before we dive into what is going on with the conscious mind and the subconscious mind and how that prevents us from moving forward, is I want to introduce a very simple concept that when I first embraced this and recognized this going on in my life, it made such a huge difference in understanding how I was spending my time, how I wasn't spending my time, and the things to create change so that I could move forward. So when it comes to the tasks that we are going to take, there's really, when it comes to moving forward, 3 types of tasks. There are tasks that are unimportant, there are tasks that are important, and there are tasks that are essential. Now, when I look down at my to-do list and I see everything that is on the list, I can do a very, very good job of sorting things between the things that are super important, kind of important, and not important. Now, that doesn't mean I actually do the things that are important, but it becomes very, very obvious, just at a glance, what is important for me moving forward and what is not. It becomes much more difficult when I am trying to juggle between the things that are important and the things that are essential. And these are my definitions. You don't have to define your terms this way, but this is the way I like to think about it. The things that are important are things that need to be done. They're typically one-off tasks, and they typically have a deadline associated with them. It is important that I pay my rent, that I pay my bills. It is important that I go to the doctor, that I follow up to the email to the client who wants to work with me. So it's something that is one-off that is important. The things that are essential have a tendency to be more about me in a holistic way. You know, my spiritual growth, my health, my well-being, the nature of my relationships, my long-term transformational journey. These sort of essential tasks come from a place of long-term progress because they're about who I am. I don't become healthy by doing a single task. I don't deepen my spiritual experience in a long-term way with a single task. Oftentimes, these things that are essential are things that happen over time. I'm going to work out 3 times a week. I'm going to start my day with a meditative practice every single day. And because these are processes that unfold over time, when I'm sitting at my desk, when I am planning my day, and I see what is in front of me, it's really easy to go, oh, this important task has to be done today. I can do this essential task tomorrow. I can work out tomorrow. I can stretch later today. I can, at the end of my workday, do 15 minutes of meditation because I don't have time to do it right now. And so then what happens, and I'm sure you're aware of this because you've seen it in your own life, what happens is those essential things keep being pushed to the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And all of a sudden it's 3 weeks later, and I haven't done one of those things that I've committed to myself. And like I said at the top of all of this, when this happens, we're frustrated day to day because we're not doing what's important. But when that frustration compounds over multiple days and over a long period of time, then we are in a circumstance where we become demotivated, we become frustrated, we don't take action. Now, the reason why this happens is very, very simple. Again, when we talked at the beginning, the difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind's job is to keep us safe. It has a very short-term approach to things. It's thinking about this moment. It's thinking about today. It's thinking about what is in front of us as we are trying to move forward right now. And because that is the case, it is absolutely obsessed with all of those tasks that are important. Because the important tasks, if they don't get done, things could go wrong. If I don't pay my rent, I don't have a place to stay. If I don't take my medicine, I'm going to get sick again. And so it pushes itself to looking at the short-term things. And because it's thinking of safety, it's like, I can work out later. I can do this other stuff later. And so in the middle of my day, when I'm feeling panicked, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when I feel like I have too much to do, I am diminished in my resource state. And because I'm diminished in my resource state, because of the overwhelm, the stress, and what is in front of me, I'm much more likely to be operating out of my subconscious mind. And so, in the clear light of day, when you sit down and you plan, this is what I would like for my health and well-being. This is the very simple plan I need to execute. And all I have to do is do this in a consistent way. It's really not that much time. And before I know it, 6 weeks from now, 8 weeks from now, I'm going to feel completely different inside of my body. We make those plans. For me, when I'm making plans, it typically happens on a Saturday or a Sunday morning where I have a nice cup of coffee. It's the weekend, I'm relaxed, and it allows me to do this big picture planning. And I'm able to consciously, deliberately decide this is what I want my life to look like in this awesome, amazing, profound way. And then daily life happens. And then it's 10:30 in the morning on a Tuesday and the internet goes out and I am behind and I'm struggling to keep up. And so I have to do the important and I don't do the essential. And so that's the reason why we land in this particular spot. It's not because we're weak. It's not because we don't care. It's not because we're weak-willed. But instead, it's because of the way the machinery works. It's because of the way the programming is operating. I am first trying to keep myself safe before I think of big pictures. And so if my subconscious mind is freaking out that I'm not going to be safe if I don't get this done, then it makes sense. The problem is the subconscious mind doesn't always say everything that is important is actually important. And so all of a sudden I'm doing important tasks, which are way less important than the essential and certainly not essential inside of that. And so for me, what I like to do when I'm finding myself struggling in this particular way. So if you're in a circumstance where you have these essential tasks, you have a big long-term change that you're trying to take in your life, and you're finding yourself stuck, Here's a really simple kind of tapping formula that I use at the beginning of my day for a number of days in a row that helps me to move away from just operating out of my subconscious mind and seeing the big picture. And so it just happens in 5 simple steps. Step number 1 is I just acknowledge what's going on. I acknowledge that this is why I'm acting the way that I am. And we're going to do a demonstration of this in just a moment so you can see exactly what that looks like. Number 2, I appreciate where the subconscious mind is coming from. I am glad there is a part of me that is trying to keep me safe. It just happens to be overfunctioning right now. And so in order for me to transform that, I always find it easiest if I find common ground. And even though I don't appreciate the fact that my subconscious mind is distracting me in this way, I can appreciate the fact that it's trying to keep me safe in that particular way, which makes it so much easier. The third thing I do is I state why this is an issue. I talk about how because I am so focused on the short term, this is what I'm missing out in the long term. Step 4 is I state what I would like to have happen instead. I state how I would like to act instead. I state how I'd like to show up differently instead. And then the last thing is we're just gentle and we forgive ourselves for being caught inside of that cycle. And so when we do this really, really simple tapping, it makes it so much easier for us to move forward and progress. And so this is what the tapping looks like. And I would encourage you to tap along with me because if you're human, if you've made it this far, I am sure you're in a circumstance where there are times in which you focus too much on the important and you're not focusing enough on the essential. Tap on the side of the hand. Just take a nice big deep breath with me. And what we're going to do is we're just going to move point from point as we tap in the order that makes the most sense for you as we're doing this. And if you're in a place where it's safe and comfortable, I'd really encourage you to say the phrases out loud as we tap our way through this. And so just move from point to point. I recognize the fact I am currently in a situation where I am focusing on the short-term important tasks, and I'm not focusing on the long-term essential tasks. And what ends up happening is I end up being very busy, but I don't end up being very productive. I recognize the fact. I fill my time. I cross tasks off my to-do list, but I'm not actually moving towards my goals. And in the short term, this is frustrating. And in the long term, this is really demotivating. I appreciate where my subconscious mind is coming from. My subconscious mind just wants me to be safe. My subconscious mind just wants me to be healthy. And my subconscious mind is seeing danger everywhere. And it just wants me to be safe. And I'm glad it wants me to be safe. But because the subconscious mind only notices what's important in the short term, it means I'm not moving towards my goals. It means I'm not actually creating an authentic life that I love. Instead, what it is doing is it is leading me to a place of filling my time without moving forward. Instead, I would like to act differently. And acting differently does not mean I'm only doing the essential things. Many of the important things still need to be done. in order for me to survive. But I recognize the fact, not only is it possible, it is essential that I set time aside for the essential. I give myself permission to be gentle with myself for falling into this trap of only listening to my subconscious mind. But even though it might feel like I have squandered time and opportunity, I give myself permission to recognize it is possible for me to change and act in new ways. And regardless how I've acted in the past, I give myself permission to do exactly that. Nice, easy, deep breath. And so you can see that there's a lightness that comes with tapping on that. Like as I sit here with tasks in front of me, not only does it feel like I'm going to get stuff done, but I have this sense of openness to the big picture. And so you can just take this little routine, come back, tap along to this, make some notes so you can tap in your own fashion. But over the course of the next 4 or 5 days, if you find yourself caught in this rut, take 3 to 5 minutes, tap in this particular way, and you're going to see that it's going to liberate you. And all of a sudden, you're going to start doing some of those essential tasks. And as you start doing those essential tasks, you're going to start to create momentum. And so it's going to be just the opposite of that demotivating missing out. It's going to become this motivating, which makes it easier and easier and easier for you consistently to take those pro-you choices that aren't just about getting what's done on the to-do list, but actually moving forward in a way that serves you. So that's the process. I hope you find it really, really useful. It's fairly straightforward. I really love tapping in this particular way. I really love acknowledging what's going on, why the machine works the way it does, because when I understand why the machine works the way it does, it makes it easier for me to transform it and to create real lasting change in my life. If you know someone in your life who could appreciate a little process like this, please pass this along, be our ambassador. We always talk about the fact that our marketing budget is your word of mouth. We always appreciate it when you pass something along. And if you pass this along to someone in your life and they don't listen, they don't tap along, they don't consume this in any way, that's okay. The simple fact that you sent them an email today saying, hey, I've been thinking of you. I hope you're doing well. This might make your day a little bit brighter. Their day is going to be brighter just by passing this along. I know that sounds super cheesy. It feels super cheesy to say it, but it is also absolutely true. On the screen right now, you'll see the entire playlist of all the past podcasts. Click on that, dive back in. There are hundreds of hours of free training waiting there for you, and I look forward to talking with you and tapping with you again real soon. Bye-bye.